Less than a month away, people. Less than a month away. Welcome to All Talk, All USL Talk, USL, covering the latest scores, news, and developments in the second highest division, the United States men's professional soccer system, the USL Championship. I'm your host, as always, Vince Galvano. Happy Monday, September 28th. We are still in September, but less than a month to go. It is gut check time. It is the final, almost curtain, we can say. Much to talk about on episode number 69 of Talk USL, episode 30 of season 2 of Talk USL. If you're liking the show or just popping in for the first time, make sure to give a review on whatever podcast platform you're using to listen. You can always write me at talkuslchampionship@gmail.com. Tell your family, friends, and fellow USL fans about the pod. You can also follow the podcast at Talk USL across all social media channels. And man, oh man, we got a lot to dissect. It was a jam-packed weekend, as always. A lot of historic achievements being accomplished, specifically by Louisville City, two to mention. One regarding the coach, one regarding one of the players. So that we're going to have to talk about. Obviously, the Griffin Hairston fallout between Pittsburgh and Hartford from last weekend. We continue more. We have an update on statements, an update on the outcome, and a bit of just commentary from my side. I think this could be, I think I know what's down the line, possibly, for the likes of Danny Griffin, but maybe we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Jägermeister Cup Final preview as well to come, in addition to breaking down all of the matches from this past weekend. It's around the corner. Hartford taking on Sacramento Republic in the final. That'll be coming in next weekend, so that's to look forward to. And as always, much more. So I'm going to get into the goal of the week, and then we'll talk about these statements from Pittsburgh and Hartford regarding the altercation that took place in the last match between Pittsburgh and Hartford that resulted in Hairston storming off the field. That resulted in a lot of discussions between the coaching staff, and it also resulted in Hartford forfeiting the contest, and then eventually investigations being done on both sides, including a polygraph test for Danny Griffin. So we'll get to that. But first, the championship goal of the week for week 29. That was match week 24/25. Now we're in match week 25-26. But it was Nico Benalcazar of OC to take it away on September 20th against Sacramento for OC. The center back producing an outstanding first-time strike from beyond the penalty area to hit back against San Antonio at Toyota Field. He won 44% of the fan vote. Elsewhere on the short list was also Jorge Hernandez for San Antonio in that same match. His lone shot of the game was at moment of brilliance, curling home a free kick for almost 30 yards in the top left corner, but only 20% of the vote. Then you had a pretty even Stevens between Adrian Perez in the Louisville City match against Las Vegas, and then Peter Lee Vassell for Birmingham. The Jamaican international produced a nice free kick as well, but he only had 19% of the vote. Congrats to Benalcazar of OC, and we typically see that. A lot of OC fans are usually heavily active on the USL Championships website when it comes to polls and having their players be part of the short list. So back to Hartford against Pittsburgh. So this happened in the 90th minute last week when Pittsburgh had went up into the contest. It was in the 89th minute where they took the lead. And then in the 90th minute, Hairston doesn't get a foul in the top of the box. And I think he goes down. It's quite soft. And Griffin supposedly says something to him. So Hairston completely loses it and goes to the referee, Dopka, and is just blown berserk in front of the referee. Referee tries to calm Hairston down. Scarlett, the captain for Hartford, comes over as well to understand a little bit. Griffin's separated this point, right? It was also a deck that they had afterwards, the fact that the foul wasn't called. Hairston went to go deck Griffin and so forth, right? So Dopka, moving off of Hairston, he then, after a couple minutes of talking to Hairston, or maybe listening to Hairston's rant and so forth, he decides to approach both coaches, Bob Lilly and Brendan Burke. And Hairston's also there. He's talking to Lilly. He's probably telling Lilly, yeah, get your players in check. Your captain said this to me and so forth. Definitely some racial allegations in regards to what was said. Hairston then proceeds to walk off the field. This is like 5-6 minutes after the whole debacle, right? So Dopka talks to Burke and so forth. Then Griffin comes over. Scarlett's listening. Griffin talks to Scarlett. They exchange words about the touchline. And then the referee instructs both sides to have a group team chat with their respective benches. And at this point, it's quite clear that some of the Hartford players, they're going to stand with Hairston, especially, initiated by Scarlett, right? And then you see this motion from Brendan Burke, to cut it by his throat in the sense of we're gonna forfeit the match, walk off. And that's exactly what had happened. Hartford would go on to forfeit the match. Sia also getting involved at the end, albeit in his street clothes because he wasn't on the field. He waves his hand at Pittsburgh, kind of, saying, "What the heck, guys? Disrespectful." He walks off and so forth. And then it's TBD in regards to what the outcome of the match will be because there still was 6 minutes to play of stoppage time. Well, the outcome is Pittsburgh wins, right? Pittsburgh, they confirm that. They get the victory. And then what had occurred was investigation. Now, from both sides, this is what had happened from the investigation. Pittsburgh had put out a statement afterwards saying, that they stand firmly with Danny Griffin following the events of last Saturday's match. They had said, we know his character, we know his values, we fully support his statement he has released today. We are unequivocal in our position. He did not use a racial slur. The second paragraph go on to say that obviously the club condemns racism in every form, commitment to diversity, respect, and so forth. Danny was publicly condemned without evidence. Go on to say Danny was publicly condemned without evidence by the opposing club. Those accusations were amplified by segments of the media, and he was subjected to an immediate judgment before the facts were known. These actions have hardened Danny, our club, and the progress we're making to grow the game of soccer in Pittsburgh at a pivotal moment in our history. We have supported, I don't know what the pivotal moment in their history is. Maybe Pittsburgh Fans, maybe it's the fact of, I don't know. But anyway, we have supported fully the league's review process, okay? Danny went above and beyond by voluntarily undergoing, sharing the results of a professional licensed polygraph exam that confirmed what he has maintained from the start. No racial slur was used. The facts are clear and we expect they will be respected. The Pittsburgh Rounds will always defend the values of integrity and fairness. We remain focused on representing our city, our fans, and sport at the highest standard while ensuring our players, staff, and supporters are treated with respect and dignity they deserve. Quite lengthy, but yeah, we get the point and from that start. And yes, Danny did go supposedly a polygraph test. Now, Hartford comes out with a statement as well, saying that they remain committed to creating a sport. This is after the results and so forth, right? That they are committed to creating a sport community where every player, staff member, and supporter feels respected, safe, and heard. There's absolutely no place for racism in our club, in soccer, or in society. During a recent match against Pittsburgh, there was an alleged use of racially offensive language from a Pittsburgh player towards a Hartford athletic player. The league conducted a formal investigation after we submitted an official report. The result of the investigation found the allegation unsubstantiated, right? Then they would go on to say, in a sentence, we continue to stand behind our player and are grateful for our community's support. Our shared goal should always be to ensure that soccer is an inclusive, respectful space for everyone. As we move forward, Hartford Athletic stands together, united in our values and stronger as one. And it just, this whole thing caused an outslur of feedback, a lot of responses on social from a whole array of fans in the league. A lot of them saying that it would have been great if Hartford had apologized because of the polygraph exam and so forth, and they found that no racial slur was used and so forth, right? But essentially, Hartford fans sticking with Hartford's statement, that's for sure. And then the rest of the league, as well as Pittsburgh fans, saying, hey, where's our apology for Danny Griffin? Right, these allegations were unsubstantiated and so forth, and it would just go on that way, right? They wanted a public apology. They wanted to say maybe we were wrong, but that just didn't happen. Hartford then also doubled down a little bit by changing their logo to black and white. They also changed their Twitter banner for the day on Thursday when the statement came out with the fist sign, right, as well. So a majority of hostility again towards Hartford comment section with regards to not apologizing. We stand together for falsely accusing. There was also kind of taking their words and throwing it back at them. Look, here's my 2 cents here. Besides Griffin and Hairston, I don't think anybody or nobody will know what had actually been said. If it was a racist or racial slur, then I'd say what goes around comes around. And I think back to a famous, or maybe let's say infamous, back in 2014 in the Turkish league, there was a player, Emre Belözoğlu, any Turkish fans out there, that was a Fenerbahce player, but it had a little bit of a history of racial allegations. And I don't think Danny Griffin has a history of this at all, right? And here he's, again, not allegations, or just allegations, that part. But anyway, Emre Belözoğlu, what happened to him was that he went out against a player, Zakora, who was a Trabzonspor player back in the day, 2014, and he had used some racial slurs. I think he was found guilty, and he was handed a 2-match ban. A month later, Fenerbahce would again play Trabzonspor once more, and what had happened on the pitch was Trabzonspor players, well, Zakora also on the pitch, right? He didn't shake the hand of Emre before the match. And then what had transpired was revenge, or let's say avenge, from the Trabzonspor players for what he had said to Zakora. So he got fouled mercilessly. I mean, like mercilessly. I mean, absolutely, in every sort of 50-50 ball, he got clutterbucked. I don't even know what that word means, but that's what had happened, right? So the payback came in the form of, harsh fouls in a heated battle in that rematch. That could happen here with Pittsburgh and Hartford, especially if both teams qualify for the playoffs, right? Now, that's if it was a racial slur, right? We don't know. We know, but we don't know, right? If it was not a racial slur and blown out of proportions, right, I think that'll be the end of it right there. It'll be a heated exchange between the two players next time they meet. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But the polygraph test indicates that's not the case, right? Racial-wise. Time will tell. And I think what will resurface here the next time these two teams play each other, and also the next instance we have of a player feeling that they're racially abused. And I can only sympathize. I can't empathize, right? But in this case, I think Dapka, the referee, had handled the situation really well. He really did. I mean, Hairston was obviously livid. So he proceeded not to Carter, but really try to listen a little bit, calm the situation down, bring both coaches in. The guy handled it absolutely to a T, and good on him. He deserves a round of applause as a referee for doing that and instructing both teams to kind of go towards their respective benches and kind of let the situation diffuse and then bring in league support and see what happens from there, right? And I think that's the case. I think that's okay. And I mean, we'll see what happens between the two sides. I thought also back when Papa Morbaye got sent off against OC, that wasn't handled that well with the referee, because he was shown a red card for hitting into the keeper and then shoving a player afterwards when the player instigated it, right? And there was no double yellow card shown. And I always think what happens on one side should happen on the second side of the field, right? And I think as a player, if you're smart, this is what you do, especially when you take advantage of the referee's decision making and you use it to your own advantage. If something goes against you, at least hey, it can go the opposite way as well if the referee's calling the sides from both games, both teams, right? So that's it. That's my 2 cents there. But we'll see what happens. In any case, I'm recording on a Sunday right now, so Pittsburgh has not played yet. Hartford had played, and Hairston was on the bench, and he came on as a substitute there. I want to talk a little bit, then breaking down the matches here. And we'll talk those 2 records for Louisville City when we cover Louisville City. Last Sunday, I didn't cover Indiana taking on Birmingham. So Indy 11 took on Birmingham, and Birmingham at the moment are, they're a bit of a mess, right? But here in this one, they did go up the lead on the 13th minute. Birmingham struck first. Peter Lee Vassell bent in a free kick to put the visitors at top, right? As we talked about. But then Kitsa pulled Indy level in the second half of the 54th minute. Nice sequence with Aiden Quinn, Romario Williams for his third of the season. Then moments later, it was Quinn delivering a pinpoint free kick to Brian Schaefer. Flicked on for Ben Ofemu, who got volleyed home the winner on the 60th. And then Indy's defense went bunker. They locked down, and they limited Birmingham to just one shot on target for the remaining half an hour. Aiden Quinn looked really good in that game, by the way. He was captain, heart of everything. He notched his 8th assist of the season, tying him for second all-time in USLC history. That's USL Championship history with 58. And he had a hockey assist on Keats' equalizer. Not that it counts, but hey, it's for something, right? Indy 11 Communications VR Sports Central there. So they got the 3 points there, Indy 11. They're looking pretty good. They also had a good go at the game this weekend. But then we'll get into what had transpired midweek, which was only Colorado taking on New Mexico. And the United shocked the Switchbacks with a late winner in Colorado at Widener Field. 6,000 in attendance for that on a Wednesday night. And they pulled off a massive 2-1 comeback, climbing into third place in the Western Conference. New Mexico back into winning form. They struck almost immediately, by the way, in regards to Colorado, scoring in just the 3rd minute, nearly double the lead when United had an equalizer ruled out for a handball. But the black and yellow, they grew into the game. The turning point came in the second half. Chris Shakes saved a penalty in the 58th minute to keep United alive. It would have been 2-0 had he not. And then 5 minutes later, Dayon Harris broke through with a cool 1-on-1 finish, level of score. And in the 83rd minute, it was Carlos Moguel Jr. delivering the winner with a stunning strike in the top right corner, sealing a statement road victory after they were down from Yosuke Hanya in the 4th minute earlier on in the match. So Moguel scoring his first goal for United, a rocket in the top corner that sealed all 3 points. So New Mexico, we can say back to form. Shakes, Harris, Mogul, the win showing United has a bit of resilience. Firepower just to make sure that at home maybe they can host a match in these postseason playoffs. Gavin Hallenstein there from New Mexico United Communications. North Carolina took on Miami, and Miami, we can say at this point, pretty much done and dusted. North Carolina getting the much-needed victory. Conway staying hot in this one on Friday night, scoring in the 13th minute with a clever turn and curling finish. After being picked out by Alcac, the Ahmed Alcac, right? His teammates, Miami pushed for a response, couldn't break through. North Carolina's defense were disciplined. Oliver Semele holding firm in goal. And then the win lifting North Carolina to 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. And then highlighting, obviously, Evan Conway, who's been exceptional this season. A match winner. He leads NC with 9 goals on the season. So a bit of a hot streak there. And they'll look to ride on him to ensure that they can obviously qualify for the playoffs. But even if they wanted to, push down a little bit further and host a match at Wake Med Soccer Park. Like to see that. And then a good battle between El Paso and Rhode Island. I think 2 sides find themselves in similar situations. And El Paso started the season strong, slipped up. Rhode Island started the season abysmal, and they kept going, but then now they're kind of breaking back. So they meet each other halfway, and this one was a 2-2 draw to indicate that at Southwest University Park. It was a goalkeeping miscue that handed Rhode Island the opener through Zach Haraval on the 29th, but Memo Diaz equalized just before the break with his first goal for El Paso, heading in Eric Calvillo's assist. J.J. Williams restoring Rhode Island's lead in the 61st minute, finishing off Noah Fusan's service, but then fortune swing back to El Paso and a wild back pass resulted in an own goal and the 74th, leveling the score once more. Los Locos, they pressed for the winner, striking the frame multiple times, but ultimately had to settle for a point, a draw that snapped their recent skid. Memo Diaz scoring his first goal in Locomotive's shirt, a crucial equalizer before halftime, but El Paso never had the lead in this one. 2 shots on target on the night for Rhode Island. They made them 2 shots count. And then meanwhile for El Paso, 6 shots on target on the night. 10,000 in attendance at Southwest University Park as well. So, can El Paso turn some draws into wins to salvage playoffs hopes? Yeah, I think so. 58% possession. They turn into a more of a possessive side under Cabrera this side of the season. His first, full time in charge here. And they generated a lot of shots here in the woodwork, a couple of mistakes, miscues, but I think they're a team, when they hold the lead, they do quite well. John Morgan there from El Paso, Locomotive FC website with the coverage. Detroit taking on Louisville City. We'll talk about these 2 historic achievements here for Louisville City. It was an historic night. After the 1-0 victory, it was Sean Totsch who would not only become the USL Championship's all-time regular season appearance leader, but also scored the decisive goal in the 6th minute, heading home a Taylor Davila's curling delivery, beautiful cross. From there, classic Louisville City, organized discipline, relentless. Damian Lass had a resolute defense to secure his 10th clean sheet of the year, and the Purple extended their grip on the top of the table to close out on another Players Shield. And then, Totsch's double milestone, new appearance record holder and match winner on the same night. You love to see that. So that's a new league appearance record with 296 games played, scoring the game's only goal. And then you also have Danny Cruz recording his 100th victory as head coach in the USL Championship since taking the helm of the club back on April 2021. So that was crazy. Cruz is now the fastest coach to reach 100 wins in the USL Championship across the regular season and playoffs, achieving the mark just after 169 games, surpassing the mark set earlier this season by current Sacramento Republic head coach Neil Collins at 185 games. He is also the youngest, reaching the mark at 35 years, 8 months, and 17 days. He's the third to reach 100 victories with one club in the USL Championship era, following the Charleston Battery's Mike Anhauser, who was 136, 188, and current Pittsburgh coach Bob Lilly, 119, 58, and 74. Fastest coach to record 100 victories in the USL Championship regular season and playoffs included there. Danny Cruz at the top of that list now with 169 games. Neil Collins, again, 185 games. Bob Lilly had done it in 213 games, and not too far behind him was also Mark Briggs, who got it done in 215 games. So pretty cool stuff there. And Louisville City just keep on trucking along. Back to Indiana. They had taken on from Birmingham, bottom of the table, more so the, side outside the playoffs, to one of the best sides in the West. FC Tulsa at home, Michael A. Carroll Stadium. A nice solid 9,500 approximately in attendance for this one. They got the scoring on the way. They did. It was Brian Schaefer opening the scoring, heading home a James Murphy free kick in the 8th minute. Indy then doubled the advantage in the 68 with a flowing team move, finished off by Jack Blake, who notched his 25th goal for Indy in the USL Championship era, a new club record for him. Tulsa managed to pull one back through Babacar Diallo in the 80th, but Indy's back line goalkeeper Luke Pruder standing firm to seal the win. And Jack Blake scoring his team-leading goal, 10th goal of the season, cementing his place in Indy history right there. So I think Indy 11 looking really good with back-to-back home wins. Blake in record-setting form. You have Quinn pulling strings in the midfield. Indy's postseason looking very healthy at the moment with the remaining games there. Indy 11 Communications via our Sports Central. Colorado, it's going bad from worse. They're slipping a little bit down this slippery slope. They had taken on, losing to New Mexico midweek and then hosting Hartford in back-to-back home games. 7,000 attendance here at Widener Field. Hartford visited this one, and it was Berner's heroics that powered Hartford to a 2-0 road win. Riding the brilliance of veteran goalkeeper John Berner, making his first USL Championship start since 2022. The 34-year-old racked up 7 saves, including a pair of spectacular stops in the opening quarter hour to keep Colorado switchbacks off the board. And then against the run of play, Hartford snatched the opener in the 34th minute from a chaotic scramble that was finished by Ebola. And then 10 minutes into the second half, Jack Peniotu doubling the advantage with the post strike after slick build-up from Sebastian Anderson. Switchbacks fired 25 shots, rattled the crossbar, but Berner's gloves and their own wastefulness, they ensured Hartford's road streak continued. But a smash and grab style, Hartford were second best for long stretches, but lethal with the few chances that they have created. 25 shots were generated for Colorado Springs, and this one 7 shots on target, 2 big chances as well, but not able to find the back of the net. Hartford holding on for the 2-0 win. San Antonio taking on Birmingham. It was a stalemate at home in San Antonio there at Toyota Field between the two sides. I think, in regards to that, goalkeeper Richard Sanchez really troubled but did his job well with 2 saves, with the back line anchored by captain Michelle Tainter, shutting down Birmingham's counter threats. For all of San Antonio's second half pressure, including a late chance that required a save of the week candidate, the breakthrough never arrived. But on the night, Sanchez would earn his 6th clean sheet for San Antonio, right? 2 shots on target for Birmingham in this one, 4 shots on target for San Antonio there as well, but nothing to decipher the two sides in that one. Monterey Bay hosting Sacramento at Cardinal Stadium. Monterey Bay getting the win in the NorCal Derby. Believe it or not, it was a 10 scoreless first half that saw saw Capozano's back into the pipes, keep the Seasiders alive with key stops. The breakthrough came late, 71st minute. Tarek Scott linked up with Adrian Rebellar, who spun free and buried a low strike for his 4th of the season. Sacramento pushed late, but Monterey Bay made sure that they had that shutout. The result keeps Monterey Bay's playoff hopes alive while handing Sacramento their first road defeat in weeks. And it was a clinical moment, too, to decide it between Rebillard there. They'd only managed 8 shots in the night with 3 on target, Monterey. Also 3 on target for Sacramento, but they played well. So can Monterey Bay still sneak into the playoff pictures? 5 matches left, but you have momentum from a derby win that could maybe be the springboard, but you can't afford to lose in these last 5 matches. You're going to need some points. You're going to need some big points. We'll preview who they have next and what's down the road. OC taking on Charleston. This would be a 2-2 back and forth match between the two sides. It was all second half goals in this one, even though Charleston were, pretty much dominating possession at Championship Soccer Stadium on the road. Scoring started in the 63rd minute with Ethan Zubak getting on the board. Then a 76-minute penalty kick would take place. Zubak would step up. OC having a 2-0 lead with 15 minutes to go. But MD Myers would take one back with a penalty, and then that just turned into Ruben getting on the board in the 86th. And then it would go into stoppage time with then eventually Juan David Torres getting a red card in the 90th plus 8. 2-2. OC couldn't hold on for the 3 points, and Charleston get a comeback draw there at Championship Soccer Stadium. The last match to cover while I'm recording on Sunday is Rising against Oakland Roots in Phoenix. They roar back from 3 down, which is crazy. Absolutely asinine here. We have a Liverpool-Athens comeback, you can pretty much say, in this one. I mean, the night started disastrously for Rising. Danny Trejo striking in the first minute. Peter Wilson getting a brace inside 22 minutes to put Oakland 3-0 up. Just before halftime, though, Charlie Dennis clawing one back to give Phoenix life, to get the deficit down to 2. Dennis strikes again in the 86th minute with a superb free kick, setting the stage for late drama. Oakland scrambling to hold on, and Remy Cabral in stoppage time coolly converting from the spot to complete the rally and send Rising Stadium into bedlam. The point extended Rising's unbeaten run to 7 now, keeping them inside the playoff line. Charlie Dennis scoring twice. Also, Peter Wilson scoring twice. 2 braces in this one. Man, oh man, late heroics. Can Rising keep living on these? I mean, probably not forever. The resilience, though, undeniable. Spotting teams 2 or 3 goals every week isn't sustainable. I mean, if they tighten up defensively, this group does have the mentality and attacking firepower to be dangerous come playoff time. That's for sure. Loudoun taking on Tampa Bay. That's taking place today on Sunday while I'm recording. Just a bit of playoff context here. Loudoun sitting 3rd in this one. The Rowdies, though, 10th with 26 points. They're in a must-win territory to keep playoffs alive, that's for sure. Abdelatif Bukara is the player to watch, obviously, for Loudoun, he's got 11 goals, while Ben Mines, 10 assists, 5 goal contributions the last 5. So Tampa's danger coming from Wubens Passius, who has 10 goals, and Arteaga, who's been a really big substitute super sub recently as well. Some milestones and notes. Hugo Farou is tied for the USL lead in saves. Mines becomes the first Loudoun player to record double-digit assists in the season, and Florian Veloz sits tied 3rd league-wide in assists with 8 on the night. Pittsburgh taking on Las Vegas, the other one. Playoff stakes for both sides. Pittsburgh is sitting 6th in the East, only 4 points off of 3rd place, while Las Vegas clinging to faint playoff hopes in the West. So must-win for Las Vegas, similar to a must-win for Tampa Bay, right? The Hounds are hard to shut out, though, just once in their last 10, but continue to lead goals from set pieces. Vegas has scored only 19 goals all season, 2nd worst in the league, but they do boast a solid Rosarena in goal with 10 clean sheets. It is Hispanic Heritage Night atmosphere at Highmark Stadium. They'll host a festival night with $1 beers pre-match, food stands from Las Palmas Supermercados, margaritas, churros in stadium, and Spanish language broadcast integration with Radio Las Palmas. So that'll be very cool for Hispanic Heritage Night. Buena suerte to everyone going to that game. Hopefully they enjoy it. And yeah, pretty cool stuff there. We'll check the league table knowing the fact that, hey, Pittsburgh, Tampa, Loudoun, and Las Vegas have not played a game yet on Sunday. Again, recording on Sunday. Obviously putting out the episode on Monday. Louisville City at the top, 63 points. They're just winning nonstop at the moment. They find themselves even 8 points ahead of Charleston. So definitely player shield favorites. Charleston in 2nd with 55 points, 26 matches played. North Carolina in 3rd with 40 points, a game in hand over their counterparts. Hartford is right behind North Carolina 38. Tied with them is Loudoun, so we'll see what happens there. Pittsburgh in 6th with 34 points. Detroit City in 7th with 32 points. They're tied as well with Indy 11. Rhode Island are outside of the playoff picture just by 1 point, believe it or not. And then you have bottom 3 Tampa, Birmingham, and Miami. Tampa with 26, 25 matches played. We'll see what happens with them. Birmingham, though, in 11th with 23 points. Miami in last with 21 points. Western side of things, Tulsa still reigns supreme on top despite a loss this past weekend. 47 points for 26 matches. Sacramento behind them by 6 points, but a game in hand. New Mexico back towards the top of that table after the win this past weekend. They find themselves 37 points, tied with San Antonio. Then you have Lexington in 5th place with 35 points. El Paso in 6th with 33 points, tied with Phoenix, although they have a game in hand over Phoenix. Then in the 8th place spot is Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Despite losing 3 games in a row, they still find themselves in the playoff contention spot, but OC have 24 matches played, the least out of any team. So they have these games in hand here, but OC have not won in a bit. We'll cover when the last time they won a match. Monterey Bay back to winning form. They take on Tampa Bay Rowdies next on October, I believe it's the 4th. We'll double check that as well. But man, oh man, they can find themselves back in that 30-point echelon and competing for that 8th spot. Oakland Roots, though, 27 points to the good. Las Vegas at the bottom with 25 points. We'll see what happens if Las Vegas get back to winning ways and also maybe tie points with Monterey Bay and putting Oakland at the bottom. We'll see what happens there. But that is how it's looking. OC-wise, let's talk about them for a second. The last time they won a match in the championship, you'd have to go back to Sunday, August 17th. So since the summer had concluded, nothing in an abysmal late August and September for them. After it was a great summer. I mean, they had at some point 3 wins back to back in the USL Jägermeister Cup, including the USL Championship. But they look quite good. But now it's not too good. They have Sacramento upcoming next, followed by only El Paso, New Mexico, and then Louisville City and Indy 11. So tough games coming up for OC. We'll see. Pardon the pun. Back to what the table was, and I can now talk about a little bit Monterey Bay because it's been also a while since they had last won a game before getting back onto the win column this past weekend. So, I mean, you look at it, they just took down Sacramento. They had tied New Mexico before that. Then it was just a string of losses. I mean, before the last time they won was back in July 12th in the USL Championship against OC. So, I mean, again, they play Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, and Las Vegas in the next 3 matches. They don't have as many games as OC, but Tampa Bay and Las Vegas are 2 games that they can get wins. And that is going to be very interesting to see what pans out there. Always very fun as October approaches in the United States when it comes to soccer, especially in the USL Championship. Last thing to check before we go into the games as we wrap up the episode, but USL Cup is coming October 4th, 10 p.m. Mark your calendars, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. It is Sacramento hosting Hartford Athletic in the USL Jägermeister Cup. It'll be on ESPN+. And it's crazy to see that Sacramento advanced to the final with that strong showing again against Rhode Island. They had a defensive identity that has led them this way. Rodrigo Lopez, Russell Cicerone, Michael Benitez are perfect from the penalty spot. They look pretty good when it comes to penalty kicks, which is great to see. That's going to be very interesting. They're hosting. Meanwhile, Hartford, they reached the knockout stages, remember, as one of the tournament's 2 wild cards. After ousting San Antonio in the quarterfinals, they advanced. They took down Greenville Triumph, the lone USL League One team remaining. And then, boom, now we're here. And the winner of the final will be the first championship team to claim the USL Jägermeister Cup. So there's that inaugural aspect to it. After debuting the League One clubs back in 2024, the USL Jägermeister Cup expanded, as we know, in 2025 to feature all 38 teams from the top 2 divisions of the United Soccer League. It worked out well because this past year, it was a bad, abysmal year for USL teams in the US Open Cup. So now there's this prize to play for, and this will mark Republic's 3rd time appearing in a final match in club history. The club did make history, Republic winning the USL Championship title in its inaugural 2014 season, and in 2022 becoming the first lower division side to reach U.S. Open Cup Final in 14 years. I just think because they're home, because they have that experience, Sacramento, that they're not going to want to pass up this opportunity. This speaks to them, and I'm going to go put my prediction right now, Sacramento to take down Hartford. Hartford, it will be no easy task for Sacramento, though. Hartford, they got a lot of fighting spirit, maybe a beast awakened inside of them. They want justice, they want retribution, and they want the spotlight. No doubt about that. A chance here to make history after a terrible season last time around. They've exploded this season. They've been a great side. They're most likely to qualify for the playoffs, turning it around as an organization. And man, oh man, what an opportunity to do it against Sacramento Republic here. That's going to be great. Again, October 4th, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. Sacramento hosting Hartford in the USL Cup, Jägermeister Cup Final. Next matches for the USL Championship. Don't forget, though, El Paso will host midweek. Here we go. They'll host Oakland Roots at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 Pacific. Then you'll have Sacramento hosting Orange County on Wednesday, October 1st at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. You also have on Wednesday, believe it or not, Birmingham hosting North Carolina at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. So you have 3 games coming on Wednesday, which is absolutely nuts. It's not typical, but I mean, everyone's got to get back on the same page. Then Saturday for the boys, Saturday also for USL Championship. Detroit hosts North Carolina, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific. Loudoun hosts Birmingham, 5 p.m., 2 Pacific there. Miami will host Pittsburgh, 7 p.m., 4 Pacific. Tampa Bay Rowdies hosting Monterey Bay, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Saturday. At the same time, Louisville City will host Indy 11. You'll have FC Tulsa half an hour later taking on Lexington Sporting Club at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. At the same time, also, Colorado Springs hosting San Antonio. Orange County will host El Paso at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. Also on Saturday, 10 p.m., you'll have Phoenix Rising hosting New Mexico United. Sunday then, a couple games there. Just one game. Rhode Island hosting Las Vegas at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific. That's how it's going to look for this first weekend in October. I can't believe we're already here. And hope everyone is enjoying the fall at the moment. Halloween season right around the corner. Lots of football being played. Champions League, Premier League, all the European leagues back in action. No international break. It's great. We got to enjoy it while we can. Get those LL Bean vests out. Get those pumpkin spice lattes in your hand. Start decorating if you need to. Whatever you got to just get in the mood. I hope everyone is well. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And we'll talk again soon.